Breckenridge looks like a dream. Ski-in mornings, mountain sunsets, a downtown that feels straight out of a Hallmark movie, but at 9,600 feet of elevation, with extreme winters, high home prices, and a tourism-driven economy, this town will either be the best decision of your life or a very expensive lesson. So before you pack your bags, let's break down the real pros and cons of living in Breckenridge, Colorado. I'm talking no sugarcoating here, no fluff, just the unfiltered truth from someone who lives and works here. Now, before we talk about prices, before we talk about snow, let's talk about the one thing that hits you the second you step out of your car, and that's the altitude. Breckenridge sits at 9,600 feet above sea level, and that's not just a fun fact. It affects how you feel here from day one. For many people, the first visit includes headaches, shortness of breath, trouble sleeping, and dehydration a lot faster than you'd expect. And what surprises people is this: it's not just for your first trip that this happens. If you live at sea level, you may feel the altitude every single time you come back. I learned this the hard way. When I first moved here from Hawaii, I did everything wrong. I had the celebratory drink on the flight. I arrived already dehydrated. I didn't hydrate properly once I got here. And of course, I was so excited about my new mountain home. What do you think I did? I went for a big, strenuous hike within hours of arriving. Oh boy, was I feeling it, and I definitely paid the price. So just so you know, it will take time to fully acclimate. But here's the thing, after 5 years of living here, I've finally figured out some really helpful tips that make a huge difference in reducing the effects of altitude. In fact, whenever I have friends or family come up and visit, I always have this little altitude care package that I give them. So if you want some of those tips, just feel free, reach out, send me an email or give me a text or a call. I'm always happy to share what actually works. Because once you become adjusted to the altitude, this is where Breckenridge completely changes how you live. Living here isn't just about skiing. It's about stepping outside and being in the mountains every single day. You know, you can ski in the morning, hike or bike all summer, walk to trails right from your neighborhood, paddleboard on Lake Dillon, or just watch a sunset on like a random Tuesday evening. You don't just visit the mountains, you build your life around them here. Here's a little fun never say never story. So I moved here from Hawaii 5 years ago, and I've always loved skiing and snowboarding, but I swore I would never wake up before sunrise and head out in sub-zero temperatures to skin up a mountain with friends. Then something hit me on New Year's Eve. I decided, for whatever reason, to just give it a try. And wow, did it completely change me. I'm not a morning person at all, but now I'm all in. There is just something really magical about skinning up the ski runs before the mountain opens, being the first to ski down on fresh powder or perfectly groomed corduroy, and having the whole mountain to yourself. And this is the best part. When you're done, you're walking past the crowds, all waiting in line for the lifts to open. I get to my car, my coffee's still hot, just waiting for me. It's great. I can be done and get to my 9 a.m. company meeting on time after climbing 2,000 vertical feet and already having the best workout of the day. Now, let's talk about the reality that surprises buyers after they fall in love with the view, what it actually costs to own here. So yes, purchase prices are high, but what really surprises buyers is everything beyond that. The HOA dues, insurance in the mountains, snow removal, you've got maintenance, utilities, property management if you're renting. Sometimes the true cost of ownership here feels a lot different than buyers expect. And if you're not local, it's really hard to know what those costs actually add up to. The thing with Breckenridge is that it has limited buildable land, national forest boundaries, global tourism demand, year-round visitors, and consistent home appreciation. That combination supports long-term desirability in a way many vacation markets just don't. Now, if you're even thinking about renting your property like on Airbnb as a short-term rental, this next one is absolutely critical. Breckenridge has zoning-specific short-term rental rules, licensing requirements, rental caps, and wait lists in certain areas. And here's the part that really surprises buyers. You can literally have one home or condo on one side of the street that's allowed to short-term rent, and the home or condo directly across the street isn't allowed to rent at all. And we're talking, it's not just harder, it's not just a we'll deal with it later situation. Sometimes it's not allowed at all, or you could be stuck on a wait list for years. So you absolutely cannot assume that just because a property is in Breckenridge that it can be rented nightly. And just know this is not a small detail. I have seen buyers almost purchase a property thinking that it would generate great rental income, only to find out later that the zoning didn't allow it. And that can turn into a very expensive mistake if you don't know before you buy. And even if you don't plan to use it as a short-term rental right now, you may want that option later, especially because having a license can impact the resale value in the future. This single factor can completely change whether a home works for you financially or not. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, I'd love to own a home in Breckenridge, but I still have some questions, or maybe you're wondering where can I and can I not get a short-term rental license without being on a wait list? Well, just know this. This is what I do every day. I help buyers just like you purchase second homes for investment, rental income, or simply a mountain home for the lifestyle. I make these videos to help you so you can make confident decisions. So if you want to talk through your situation, feel free to send me a text, an email, or just give me a call. I would truly love to help you make owning a home here a reality. Now let's shift gears for a second, because beyond the rules and logistics, there's something about Breckenridge that surprises a lot of buyers once they spend real time here. Breckenridge isn't just a resort, and this is the part that many people don't expect. It's a real town with full-time neighborhoods, local schools, community events, farmers markets, and people who live here year-round. There's a ton of community groups that make it really easy to get connected. Ski groups, hiking meetups, social clubs, and places like the Summit County Community Center, where both full and part-time residents gather for classes, fitness, and events. When I moved here from Hawaii, I joined the community center and actually ended up taking ukulele lessons myself. How fun is that, right? And I also joined a ski touring group. It's just pure mountain nature, away from the weekend crowds, super welcoming, and such a great workout. Those kind of groups make it really easy to integrate quickly and actually feel welcomed into the community, not just like a visitor. One of the things I love is sharing some of the community groups and resources I've found since I've been here. There's so many great options. So if you want to know more about what I've found, just please make sure you reach out to me. Because whether you're here full-time or seasonally, it doesn't have to feel like you're only visiting a vacation destination. It can genuinely start to feel like home. But living in one of the most popular mountain towns in America comes with a trade-off that most visitors don't think about. On peak weekends, ski traffic backs up, downtown gets crowded, restaurants fill up, and parking gets tight. And that's not just the holidays. Powder days, festivals, and summer weekends can feel really busy too. Locals learn to plan around this. We shop earlier, we pick back roads, we head out at different times. The real question becomes, do you want to live in the energy or just outside it? Because both exist here, and choosing the right neighborhood can really shape your day-to-day experience. For some buyers, being right in the middle of the action is exactly what they want. For others, a slightly quieter area nearby makes the lifestyle feel much more relaxed. And this is where choosing the right location inside Breckenridge really pays off. If you buy near Main Street, on the bus route, near gondola access, or in a walkable neighborhood, you can skip parking stress, ride the free Summit Stage bus, walk to restaurants, and access skiing so much more easily. And that convenience really changes how you use your home. Instead of worrying about driving or parking, you can step right outside and enjoy the town right away. And here's a local insider tip a lot of buyers don't realize: it's entirely possible to fly into Denver International Airport and enjoy everything Breckenridge has to offer without ever needing a car. You can take the airport shuttle, like the Epic Mountain Express, straight from DIA to your home in Breckenridge. And then once you're here, you can ride the free Summit Stage bus to get around town, to the ski resorts, and even nearby towns like Frisco or Copper Mountain. For second homeowners, this can be a huge benefit, not only for your own visits, but for guests and renters who may prefer not to even rent a car. Walkable locations combined with reliable transit can make the entire experience much more relaxing and more appealing for visitors. And this is one of the most underrated advantages of buying here. Now, here's something you won't see in the listing photos, but every mountain homeowner eventually learns. Mountain homes here typically require more maintenance than homes in many other parts of the country. At 9,600 feet, we're closer to the sun. The weather is simply more intense, UV exposure is stronger, storms can be harsher, and the combination of sun and snow and temperature swings can really take a toll on the exterior materials over time. That means things like snow load monitoring, roof wear from freeze-thaw cycles, driveway snow clearing, your deck exposure, and wildlife mitigation requirements are just a part of mountain ownership. And in the winter, issues like ice dams, frozen pipes, or heavy snowfall can require more attention than many buyers are used to. None of this is unusual here. It's simply part of owning in the mountains. The good news is once you have the right systems and local support in place, most owners find that it becomes routine and very manageable. And if you ever need help with that, I can connect you with trusted local vendors, from snow removal to maintenance and property care, so you're not trying to figure it all out on your own. It's definitely more involved than suburban ownership, but completely doable with the right plan. The key is knowing what to expect and having a plan in place, especially if this is a second home. Now here's where owning in Breckenridge can really start to work in your favor financially. When you buy the right property in the right area, rental potential can become a real advantage. In permitted zones, Breckenridge sees strong tourism demand, premium peak season rates, and bookings across multiple seasons, not just winter, but summer and fall too. Some owners offset a meaningful portion of ownership costs, and in certain cases, rental income can play a big role in making the numbers work. But success really comes down to smart selection and understanding zoning, location accessibility, and what guests actually want. When those pieces line up, rental potential can be a very strong advantage of owning here. Now, here's one more mountain town reality that surprises a lot of new owners. Summit County has a much smaller local workforce and very busy peak seasons, which means repairs, contractor timelines can sometimes take longer than you might be used to in a larger city. And this really matters when something happens unexpectedly. I had a client call me on Christmas Eve in a bit of a panic. He had guests arriving and suddenly the electricity for all the downstairs bedrooms stopped working. He had already called around trying to find an electrician and nobody was responding. Of course, it was Christmas Eve, right? So he called me. I reached out to a trusted local electrician that I work with. He was there in 30 minutes and fixed the issue before his guests arrived. That's the reality of living in a mountain town. Sometimes it can take longer to find the help on your own, but having the right local connections makes a huge difference. Now, it doesn't mean problems can't be solved. It just means that having a reliable network in place really helps. And this last one isn't about numbers. It's about what happens once Breckenridge becomes a part of your life. Many buyers plan to visit a few weeks a year and end up spending months here, because once Breckenridge becomes your place, it has a way of pulling you back again and again. It's not just the skiing or the scenery, it's the lifestyle, the rhythm of the seasons, and the feeling of just being here. And for a lot of people, that's what ultimately makes owning here completely worth it. So if you're thinking about living in Breckenridge or owning a home here and you just want some clarity on what it looks like, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to help you figure out if it's the right fit for you.